Hey everybody, how are you? Good morning. Did you see this episode recently on Prager University? I don't typically watch Prager University, but this was forwarded to me, and I'm just going to let this speak for itself. It's the inconvenient truth about the Republican Party when it comes to their relationship with black people in America and women in America. I'm going to let the video do the talking.
Racist, sexist, Republican, these words are virtually interchangeable, at least according to most professors, journalists, and celebrities. So are they right? Let's take a look at history. The Republican Party was created in 1854. The first Republican Party platform, adopted at the party's first national convention in 1856, promised to defeat, quote, those twin relics of barbarism, polygamy and slavery.
Time out right here. Did you know that? The Republican Party, when it was first formed, 1856, this was Abraham Lincoln, when right before the Civil War was about to break out, and both sides, the North and the South and the warring factions could not decide. The Republican Party, right here in their founding statement, said destroying polygamy and slavery.
Those twin relics were spreading into the Western territories. Republicans feared that as those territories became states, polygamy and slavery might become permanent parts of American life. Polygamy, the marriage of one man to multiple women, devalued women and made them a kind of property. Slavery, of course, did the same to blacks, literally. The Democrats were so opposed to the Republicans and their anti-slavery stance that in 1860, just 6 weeks after the election of the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, South Carolina, a state dominated by Democrats, voted to secede from the Union. The Civil War that followed was the bloodiest war in U.S. history. It led to the passage by Republicans of the 13th Amendment, which freed the slaves, the 14th Amendment, which gave them citizenship, and the 15th Amendment, which gave them the vote. In 1870, the first black...
Don't forget, 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment were all spearheaded and majority supported by all Republicans in the United States, almost entirely completely opposed by Democrats.
Senator and the first black congressman were sworn in, both Republicans. In fact, every black representative in the House until 1935 was a Republican.
That's 65 years, okay, 65 years of black men being treated equally, although, you could argue up until the Civil Rights Act, but regardless, 65 years, not a single black man thought it would be wise to be a Democrat. I wonder why.
And every black senator until 1979 was too.
Okay, so there's another 45, 44 years? That's basically 100 years. 100 years where not a single black man thought it would be a good idea to run as a Democrat. All black men were running as Republican. Why is that? Why is it today they tell you that Republicans are racist and hate black people, and Democrats are the ones that love black people? That's just not the truth. And some people, the modern people today, will say, "Oh, well, the party's flipped." No, they definitely did not. Hold on.
For that matter, the first female member of Congress was a Republican. The first Hispanic governor and senator were Republicans. The first Asian senator, you get the idea. Republicans also kept their pledge to defend women's rights. In 1862, the Morrill Anti-Bigamy Act was passed by the Republican-controlled Congress to put an end to polygamy. In 1920, after 52 years of Democratic Party opposition, the 19th Amendment was ratified thanks to the Republican Congress, which pressured Democratic President Woodrow Wilson to drop his opposition to women's rights. In the final tally, only 59% of House Democrats and 41% of Senate Democrats supported women's suffrage. That's compared to 91% of House Republicans and 82% of Senate Republicans. There certainly was a war on women, and it was led by the Democratic Party.
Wait a second, they never taught me that. Everybody on the TV says that it's the exact opposite.
But while Republicans had won a major battle for women's rights, the fight for black civil rights had a long way to go. In the 1920s, Republican President Calvin Coolidge declared that the rights of blacks were just as sacred as those of any other citizen. By contrast, when famed sprinter Jesse Owens, a staunch Republican, won 4 gold medals at the 1936 Berlin Olympics, he was snubbed by Democratic President Franklin Roosevelt. Roosevelt only invited white Olympians to the White House. 2 decades later, it was a Republican president, Dwight Eisenhower.
Wait a second, lady. Wait a second. FDR is the one who said, what, a chicken in every pot and so on and so forth, and the New Deal and the greatest Democrat ever. You're just telling me that he didn't allow black people to visit the White House? That's FDR, lady. Watch your mouth. No, that's the truth. Woodrow Wilson, hey, it's supreme racist. Woodrow Wilson had a private screening, and I guess not private. He invited a lot of people to the White House to watch the, what was that extremely racist movie that was created? I'm going to look it up as we're playing this, but it was very sympathetic to the South and the KKK. And then FDR here, same thing. The Democrats are no friends to anyone but white people.
Who sent the 101st Airborne Division to escort black students into Little Rock Central High when Arkansas Governor Orville Forbes, a Democrat, refused to honor a court order to integrate the state's public schools. The Civil Rights Act of 1960, which outlawed poll taxes and other racist measures meant to keep blacks from voting, was filibustered by 18 Democrats for 125 hours. Not one Republican senator opposed the bill. Its follow-up bill, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, is one of the landmark pieces of legislation in American history. That, too, survived a filibuster by Democrats thanks to overwhelming Republican support. But
the 1964 Civil Rights Act, did you hear her? Completely opposed by the Democrat Party. Completely supported by the Republican Party.
You might be thinking, all that's in the past. What have Republicans...
And I'm going to tell you guys in just 1 minute, stick to the end, don't go away, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to completely debunk that myth of, oh, well, the party's flipped. I'm going to tell you exactly why in just 1 minute.
done for women and blacks lately? The answer you'd hear from professors, journalists, and celebrities is not much. And this time they'd be right. They'd be right because the Republican Party treats blacks and women as it treats everyone, as equals. The Democratic Party never has, and it still doesn't. Today's Democrats treat blacks and women as victims who aren't capable of succeeding on their own.
Okay, now I had someone when I watched this video who said, I don't agree. I don't agree. And I said, well, how do you mean? And they said, I don't think that because Democrats, aren't they always trying to promote women and minorities and that kind of thing? And I said, now time out. Yes, you're right. Let's read this statement here. Today's Democrats treat blacks and women as victims. Everything you hear a Democrat saying today is, oh, you poor black man, oh, you poor black woman, you just had all these years of unfair treatment and the white man putting you down and the Republicans hating you and all of this. If it weren't for us and our food stamps and our government housing and our schools and our Obama phones and this, and you would just never have, they want to put you back in chains. If you remember what Joe Biden said, that's exactly what he said on a stump speech a few years ago. Same with women. Women, can you believe these men, especially these conservative Republican men, they hate you. They want to get you. They want to put you back in the kitchen and take away your vote. This is what the difference is here. Republicans treat women as though you're an equal. We don't see that there's any difference. White people, every other color of people, we treat them as equals. We don't see any difference. Democrats today and for the last 70 years have treated everyone who are not white men as victims and try to convince you must vote Democrat in order to protect your own agency.
The truth is, this is just a new kind of contempt. So there is a party with a long history of racism and sexism, but it ain't the Republicans. I'm Carol Swain. For
Thank you, Carol. That was very, very insightful. Now I'm going to debunk that part about the parties switching. You might say, parties switched, the parties switched. No, 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 no. No, they didn't. Here's what happened. All right, here's this guy, Saul Alinsky. Now, if you don't know who Saul Alinsky is, I understand. I'm not gonna get on your case about it, but you need to know your history. Okay, you need to read your history and understand who this guy is and why he's so important. Here's a book that he wrote. Well, I was hoping for this book here, Rules for Radicals. Saul Alinsky taught all of the radical, whether underground communist types of the 50s and early 60s how to be very politically active and without having a better argument, still flip the tables on everyone. His main point, among many others, was always accuse your opponent of doing what you are trying to do. So the Democrats took this on. And if you don't believe me, don't trust Google, because we know Google's censoring so much the last few years. Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, both in their youth, talked about how influential Saul Alinsky was. They wrote papers on him. You can see they talk about how amazing and influential Saul Alinsky was for them. What he did, he says, accuse your opponents of doing what you're doing. So when you can take that back to, the party switched, the Republicans, they're the racist ones, they hate women. No, they're not. This is the Democrat Party playing textbook Saul Alinsky Rules for Radicals playbook. Accuse the Republican Party of being racist and sexist and homophobic and all of this. And instead, it's actually the Democrats who are constantly trying to convince women and blacks and everyone, divide and conquer, convince them you're a victim, that without the party, you would be in so much more trouble. So anyway, that's all I've got for this episode right now. I just wanted to go over that. It's a pretty interesting video. I really liked that one. Like I said, I don't usually watch Prager University stuff, but this was a very good one. The Inconvenient Truth About the Republican Party. So I hope you guys liked this. Comment, text me, email me. I genuinely want to know what you think about this. All right, everybody. My name is Ryan Derks. I'm running for Missouri's 5th Congressional District, and I approve this message.